There's a new me coming out, and I just have to live, and I wanna give. I'm completely positive. I think this time around I am gonna do it like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. The time has come for me to break out of the shell. I have to shout that I am coming out. I'm coming out. I want the world to know.
Welcome to the show, Never Too Late Ever, where we focus on making the next chapter of your life the very best chapter ever. I am your host, Lorraine Hoving, and I am thrilled you are here today. This day could change your life. Open your heart, open your ears, and listen. This week, we are going to continue our talk about decluttering, and I am excited about it because I felt like we scratched the surface last week, so I am glad you are back to talk and listen to Leanne Pruett. So let me tell you quickly a little bit about Leanne, and then we're going to dive right into where we left off last week. So Leanne is the founder of Let's Ace Your Space and the host of Ace Your Space Summit. She's on a mission to help entrepreneurs and other on-the-go people simplify decluttering so that it is no longer blocks their momentum and keeps them from the things they really want in life. She retired from her day job almost 30 years ago in 2017. And now she helps other people organize and declutter their homes. And it frees them up to powerful and physical energy to accomplish other goals. So, Leanne, I am so glad you're here today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. I'm so happy to be here. Love to discuss. Of course, this is one of my favorite topics here. So, yes.
I love it. So, anyways, last week we kind of gave them a project, the audience out there, to begin. So let's move on and go from there. So what are some other ideas on decluttering? And then this is a good topic too, is once they declutter something, how do they begin the habit so that sometimes you can declutter and then a week or two, the bad habits come back and then you've cluttered again. So give us some helpful tips for the ones that are decluttering that maybe have a couple drawers decluttered, not to clutter again.
Great question there, Lorraine. So, last week we talked about figuring out where to start your decluttering and then actually breaking that space up into little subspaces to declutter, maybe once or twice a week, an hour or two at a time. Now, what I also like to tell people to do, what I also like to set people up doing is what I call the daily declutter. And this is something that will help keep your space decluttered, and will also help you attack those piles of things before they actually become clutter. So this is a second, it's kind of like a two-pronged attack. This is the second part of the attack on clutter. And what this is, the daily declutter, is I want people to actually take about maybe 10 to 15 minutes, up to 20 minutes a day, and really systemize going through a routine in their space to hit the places where clutter accumulates. I tell everybody to, first of all, make sure you're addressing your mail. It's so easy for the mail to pile up, and you just need to have a system to address it every day. First of all, that junk mail and those catalogs, just go on and get those, put those in the recycling or throw them out. The thing about catalogs is they're great. I love them. I know we all love looking through them. But if you're saving and looking through all these catalogs, it's like the company that is enticing you to buy rather than you buying on your own terms. When it's time for you to go and purchase something, you can go look at their website or go look in the store. You don't need the catalog.
And especially nowadays. Yeah.
Exactly. And have a system for, dealing with your bills and anything you need to save so that you put that up, and you'll be able to do that quickly, just, really quickly do that. And then just kind of go through and do a sweep. If there's anything askew, like if the pillows are on the floor, put them on the sofa. If you were reading a magazine, put that back where it belongs. If there are any cups or glasses out, take them to the kitchen. If you've thrown any clothes, if you came in the house and threw your jacket down, hang that up and set a timer for this and take about, like I said, between 10 and 20 minutes, 15 minutes is a good sweet spot, and just get in the habit of doing that every day. And I do tell people I tell people to pick a time frame, be it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or somewhere in there, and stick to that. And also pick a time of day when they're going to do this. If they're going to do this in the morning, if they're going to do it in the afternoon, when they come back from work, or in the evening, because the more systemized you make it, the quicker it becomes a habit. And then you don't even realize you're doing it. And so you're just in the habit of doing this daily declutter.
And I call it kind of, it's kind of like maintenance, right? It's like maintenance, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. You're maintaining your you're doing two things. If you have cluttered spaces, you're keeping the clutter at bay. You're not getting more cluttered while you're decluttering these spaces. And then once you get everything decluttered, you're able to maintain it by doing this.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like your idea about setting a timer. So I kind of do my maintenance at night before I go to bed. So my house has to be clean. The dishes have to be done. Everything kind of has to be done. And that's what I do it. And because I've always done it that way, then it's a habit. And so that's a great habit for people, especially if you're one of the ones that I like to wake up with a clean house rather than wake up and have to still work on it. So but you find a system that works for you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect. Perfect. Anything else on that?
No, that's pretty much it on that. But just do make sure you do it. And also, one other thing I will say is, like, really do go through and focus on where the clutter accumulates in your house. It's going to be different for everybody. So, but I do suggest everybody do the mail sort and then really focus on those areas where the clutter accumulates. And, if that timer rings, stop. If you didn't get finished, you can come back the next day and pick up getting finished, and you will get quicker at it as you go along.
Right. And you can, like, if you had set the timer for 15 minutes and it really takes 20, then just the next time set up for 20. And I like the idea of see where your clutter ends up, because I know that everybody kind of has a place. Is it the coffee table? Is it the end table? But there's a place where clutter tends to end up, and that needs to be maintained. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect. And I have another question, because so decluttering can be difficult when it comes, like, when you're older. You've collected a lot of things that are of sentimental value. So I'd like you to speak a little bit about things that are of sentimental value. I, in some of my moves, and we're packing up some of our stuff right now. And what I do is I've been taking photos of things that are really sentimental, because they're too big to pack and take away. But do you have any other suggestions on things that are sentimental that are hard to let go of?
Well, first of all, that's a really good idea. I actually, that's one of the things that I tell people to do, is to take a photo of something to remember something. And that's what, when we're doing our that weekly or bi-weekly declutter sweep, where you're taking an hour or two in decluttering, you're taking most of that time in there to actually look at these items and decide whether they stay or go. And of course, it's going to be an automatic yes, this needs to stay, and sometimes it's going to be an automatic no. But then we have these maybes, which are sentimental items. Sometimes we we know we really don't have space for them, but they mean so much to it. So what I tell people to do, particularly with the sentimental items, is really think about that item. And is it the item itself that you really love and want to hold on to, or is it what it signifies? Is it the person that gave it to you, or is it maybe a special trip or a special occasion that occurs to you? And if it's the event or the person and not the thing, then what we want to do is we want to really work on remembering the person and the event while being able to let go of that thing. So a few things that a few things that you can do. If it's a collection of things, keep one of the collection. I remember I talked to a woman, or I heard of a woman who had like a collection of salt shakers, like that her mother had collected salt shakers, and they were like, 60, 70 pairs of salt shakers, and she didn't really like them, but she was holding on to them. And what she was able to do was she was able to pick one or two that she actually did like and got rid of the rest. And so then she remembers it that way.
Right.
If it's
solution.
Something like,
yeah.
Yes. If it's something like, a wedding dress or a particular piece of clothing that reminds you of something, see if you can't take a snippet of it and repurpose it maybe in a shadow box, or maybe in a pillow or some way that it reminds you, and you get that space get it out of the space. Now, you mentioned taking a picture. I think that's a really good thing to do, is to take a picture of the items. And what you can do, you can get like you can keep a scrapbook of things, but this isn't not like a traditional scrapbook. Like if you have like a blank book, you can actually put pictures in there of things that you remember, and you can write little notes about them, write notes in the margin and stuff like that, and just have your little book that you flip through to remember these things.
Right.
Right. And if there's
I love it.
I know I have so many. I'm just rattling them off. So and if it's something that if there's something that you love, like say like you have your mother's china, and you love it, but you're not really using it, and there's not a place to store. Well, consider actually using your mother's china and getting rid of what you have, like maybe your everyday dishes, and start using your mother's china. Actually use it, and get rid of the other thing. So, and make it a replacement for what you are using. So that's some things to do.
I like that idea because I like that idea because so often we put those special little dishes away. Well, if they're so special, we could still use them during for ordinary days. We put them in a cupboard and use them once a year, So I like that idea. And I also I love the idea, Leanne, of a scrapbook, or it could be where you send the photos in and they make those books. You know how they make those books like they're a coffee table book. And there would be all your memories. And I love your idea of writing a little note. And then when you felt kind of sentimental about stuff, you can flip through it. Great idea.
Absolutely. Great
idea.
And I'm not exactly sure where to find this. We'd have to Google it. But I saw, this was actually on a decorating show I was watching years ago. They took this was a family, they had a lot of the kids' artwork, like younger kids' artwork, or their grandchildren's artwork or something. They took all these pieces of artwork and they had them shrunk down to, they minimized them somewhat, and they did one big picture and it had just like all the little, just all the little artworks in it, and they just had one picture. And it was so cool. It was such a great way to, get rid of keeping all those things, but to still be able to see those.
Right. Because sometimes you can have boxes and boxes of artwork from your kids, and you don't want to give it, you don't want to give it up. But what a great idea. Yeah.